On the subject of unfairness, I'm a bit frustrated by some of the stories that I read in the newspapers these days, such as a lady who was fined £100 because she only put in part of her number plate into the parking meter and was therefore deemed to be in breach of contract and issued this £100 fine. It's not a fine, it's a parking charge notice. So in this video, I'd like to say what I would do, not that this is legal advice, because it isn't, but what I would do in this situation, because I think that's particularly unfair, with a sprinkling of the law as to why I would do that and why I think I would be successful. So just breaking it apart a little bit, they say that it was a breach of contract because she was required to put in the full registration number of her vehicle into the meter so that it recognizes that she's paid for the parking. Just for the avoidance of doubt, she did pay for the parking and she paid for the amount of time that was suitable for her staying there. She was only there for 15 minutes. She paid for an hour. So that wasn't a problem. However, she only put in, as many of these parking meters require, she only put in part of her number plate. Now, many of these machines require the numbers from your number plate. So if it was 22, they require you to put in 22. And that's how they recognize that it's the correct ticket for the vehicle and so on. Just so that any wardens walking around, they can have a quick check. The number matches the vehicle and it prevents you from passing that ticket onto somebody else so that someone else uses the ticket and haven't paid for it. That's essentially what it was originally for. Now, they say, according to the article, that you are required to input the full number plate of the vehicle into the machine. However, the lady says in the article that there was no sign anywhere to say that she had to do that. And so she just put in part of it, as she'd regularly, presumably, done before, as I indeed have done many times before. Many of these machines just want the numbers. And so when you get to a point where you're at a machine that you're not familiar with, you'd be forgiven for not really knowing whether you've got to put in the full number plate or just the numbers. So you might have a look around to see whether the signs are there that tell you, make sure you put in the full number plate, otherwise you get a parking charge notice, which is a administrative fee for breach of contract. But if those signs are not clear and the writing isn't clear enough, or they're not close enough to the meter, you're not supposed to, and you're not expected to go hunting for these signs to make sure that you haven't missed any. They should be clear for you to see. The reason for that is that you are a consumer, for the most part, in these situations. So applying consumer law to this situation, if there's any ambiguity, if there's any confusion, or if there's anything that is slightly misleading or unfair about the terms, or the fact that the terms are not clear, the law will generally fall down on the side of the consumer. So if that were me and I had genuinely paid and I genuinely believed that I just put part of the number plate in and there was no clear sign to say otherwise, that I had to put the full number plate in and therefore didn't, and then receive this parking charge notice of £100 through the door, I'd be appealing it in the normal way. And if they rejected it, I would say, you know what, fine. Let's let a court decide, because in my view as an individual, not just as a barrister, but my view as an individual is that wouldn't really be fair, because there's no sign telling me I had to put the full number plate in, so I put part of it in. That should be sufficient because it identifies the vehicle against others. But also, if there is just no clear sign to tell me that that's what I'm supposed to do, then they can't really give me a administrative fee, quote unquote, fine for not doing so. So that's what I would do. I would allow them to take me to court, and then at very, very best, they could, in my view, get a fee for the occupation of the space, which I'd already paid, because that would be trespass if you're there without license and you haven't paid for it. So they could be entitled to the amount that they would ordinarily charge for that parking space. And if the terms are unfair or not clear, or it didn't say so, and there's anything else unfair about it or unclear about it, the court generally is not going to side with them. It's going to side with the consumer. So again, not that this is legal advice, but that's what I would do. And if you want to have an arsenal, some way of ensuring that you have the best chance of winning these things, if you support me on any one of the methods below, become a Patreon, become a member of this channel, I'm releasing something in March which is going to help you to fight and hopefully to win each of these cases. So if you join me there, I will give you early access when that goes live in March. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Please make sure you smash the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.